everyone, it's Sharonda from Payorwait, and today I'm going to be recapping Power Book 2 Ghost, Season 3, Episode 2, Need versus Greed. Y'all, it's a little bit too many people on here. I know this sounds really terrible, and I'm probably going to hell for this, so I apologize in advance. But some people need to go ahead and kick the bucket because it's way too many people to be typing out all these notes every single episode, okay? I'm just saying. But let's go ahead and get into this week's episode. So we had kind of this bombshell revelation, even though I think a lot of us were pretty much assuming that Lauren was actually going to be alive. But we saw that Lauren actually is alive, and this episode 2 kind of opens up to give us more backstory on what actually happened that night, because we really didn't know. And I always say, if they didn't show the murder, then it probably didn't happen. And in this case, it didn't happen. So we see that she was knocked unconscious and she was put into the car, driven out of the city, and then put into the passenger seat, pushed into the water so she can drown to her death. However, in the case of white people not minding their own business, in a good case of it, we see that this man is walking his dog. He sees his car going into the water, calls the ambulance, and then she's able to be saved. Thank you, white man. Thank you, dog, for taking y'all nightly walk and saving Lauren, all right? So we see that as she's kind of playing these memories out into her head, she's having nightmares about this, visions about it. We see that it was Effie who was the one who knocked her unconscious, threw her into the river. I mean, let's be honest. Effie was doing this because she had to get the competition out of the way, okay? Because she was trying to get her man Tariq. And she said, I am no one's number 2. So what are we going to do? We're going to get number 1 out of the way and just, kill her. I don't condone violence, y'all. I'm just telling y'all what she was thinking. So we see that she is actually the CI that Jenny has, who's trying to build the RICO case against Tariq St. Patrick to say that this 19-year-old man, young man, is over like a whole drug enterprise. So that's what she's been going for the entire time. She feels that Lauren is going to be that person that helps get this case greenlit because she's trying to actually get a task force approved, but she has to have concrete evidence in order to convince her superiors that this is a path worth going down. So we see that no one knows that she's alive. Only her doctor and Jenny are the only 2 people that knows that she's alive. Her parents think that she's still dead. Tariq, of course, thinks that she's dead. Effie, Brayden, everybody thinks she's dead. And so, she's just like, sis, like, I'm telling you, who tried to kill me? Like, why you can't go ahead and arrest her right now? Get Effie. She was like, ma'am, I need evidence. The dog was going to see something, to say something. But the man who was walking with his dog, he didn't see nobody else. You the only person that saw her. You got knocked unconscious, so we can't even, your mental state, like, someone could easily crack that open. So it's just like, sis, until we have concrete evidence, we got to go a whole nother route. Then she tells her she feels like Tariq has something to do with this as well. But she was like, no, it was Effie. Effie was the one selling drugs with Brayden, is not Tariq. So Lauren was right in questioning Jenny because, let's be honest, anyone that's told Lauren that things were going to be okay, it's never been okay at this point. I mean, girl almost ended up dead in the first place. And I know that I've probably been one of the harshest critics of Lauren, but I was just like, girl, let it go. Just run away. Leave Jenny, because at this point, I mean, I have no faith that Jenny's going to get anything to go through. And to be honest, if we watch any of the Power spinoffs, Power Book 2, I mean, they never really get to win. So I'm with her with this, but it is what it is. Let's go on to who we're going to talk about. Actually, let me go ahead and talk about Saxe, because Saxe and Jenny are having a very distressing conversation, because I was very confused as to how Jenny said that Tariq was groomed to take over this drug enterprise, given who his parents were, and then comparing him to LeBron's kids. Like, I was like, I don't always agree with Saxe, but I was like, this is a very racist assessment. Okay, Jenny from the block, Jenny that ain't won no case against St. Patrick's, Jenny. Okay, trying to tie all of this together, Jenny. Don't make no sense. Shut up. Ugh. Who would have thought I'd be agreeing with Saxe on something? So Jenny's just like, Saxe, I need you to give me some information, okay? Saxe does end up later warning Jenny about Detective Whitman, who has just been a pain in all of our asses, I would have to say, over since last season to this season, because he's still upset about Carrie, who didn't want to give him none no more. And then she was messing with Zeke, and then she ended up murdered because of Zeke. And now he's thinking about Monet had something to do with it. And she did. But he's just annoying to me. So Saxe warns her about Whitman. And then basically she calls Whitman in. And then Whitman is actually able to give her the connection that she needs. Blanca said that she couldn't get the RICO task force okayed. However, because Whitman's saying that Monet has a direct tie-in to Tariq and to Mecca, that is the actual queen pin that they should be looking at and not trying to pin the entire organization on Tariq. And so this is how they're probably going to be able to get their task force get the green light on it for the RICO. So, we see that towards the end of the episode, we see that Saxe goes into Davis's drawer. He finds a cell phone, calls the number on the cell phone, realizes that is, Monet's phone number. She answers the phone. He quickly hangs up. Now, I don't know if Davis is gonna be able to catch this with Saxe, because at the end of the day, if the way that Monet has been disrespecting people these 3 seasons so far, I can assume that if someone called her and then hung up the phone, especially if you on her payroll, like, I'm pretty positive she would have an issue with this. So I wonder how this is all going to come to bite Saxe in the behind. Is Davis going to be aware that, like, maybe Saxe is working for both sides? I don't know, but obviously at some point Saxe is going to make the correlation between this Rollins case that Davis keeps asking about with his brother and figure that out. So I'm not going to count Saxe out, because if Saxe then made it through all of this mess of the first Power to season 3 of Power Book 2 Ghost, I'm not going to count him out. I think he's overstayed his welcome for quite some time, but I'm not going to count Saxe out because he didn't made it this far. But I'm just saying, the list is getting a little bit too long with these characters. They're still lasting season after season after season, and I don't think people will be sad to see Saxe go. Just saying. So actually, let's talk about Tate Raggedy Behind. So Steven from the DNC, he goes to visit Rashad, basically letting him know, like, hey, bruh, what is going on? Like, you supposed to be winning this. Your campaign office look like crap. You ain't got no wife. You're not looking real promising as a candidate, especially since, the previous person that he blackmailed to get out, he's funneling donors to his competition. So it's not looking too good for Rashad. And he's just like, hey, you can't take no more L's, Rashad. So you really need to find you a wife, figure this out so you can win the election, okay? All right. So, he always up to some shadiness. And we'll talk a little bit more about him once we get into Tariq's part of it. But let's talk about Diana. Diana in school, she's trying to get an education and stuff, trying to be an educated woman. I'm here for this. However, this whole thing that they're trying to do with her and this TA Celine, let's be honest, there's nothing to me looking at Celine making me think that Celine is going to be talking to Diana. That don't make no sense. And I see what y'all trying to do, and I want y'all to stop right now before you even get into it, because it just don't even make sense as a storyline. And it's kind of giving that y'all don't really know what to do with her character. And I feel that she deserves more than this lackluster love interest thing that y'all are trying to do between her and her TA, because it's just not giving what y'all think is given. But the way that he kind of gagged her a little bit when he was like, she came to be like, hey, is there any way I can get some books? Because books do be expensive. I'm not going to lie. Books are expensive as hell. But he did have a good point. Diana, help me to understand, okay? Not trying to be shady. But how are you wearing a Balenciaga backpack and you telling me that you can't afford no books? But you stay dripped out from head to toe? Help me to understand. Your mama riding around in a G-Wagon? But you can't afford no books, Diana? It was a fair question that he had. It was truly a fair question. But hey, at least Celine did what he needed to do. He got her a job on campus. I don't know about y'all, but I was like what do they call it? The work study, federal work study. I had my little job working the little front desk, trying to get my money from my books, so I ain't mad at it. But then she sees Tariq and Effie together. Remember, Effie was like, you need to leave him. He ain't worth it. You got to leave him, when she really just wanted her to leave him so she could. Actually, now that I think about it, Effie was like number 3. Like, Lauren was number 1. Diana was number 2. She was number 3. And I'm like, Effie, stand up. It is not worth all of this for Tariq. Please and thank you. Ugh. So let's talk about Drew next. So Drew's boo Everett, who I just don't like Drew and Everett's relationship. I was kind of for it at first, but Everett really gets on my nerves. Like, I'm so happy he got drafted to OKC. Happy that he's excelling. He's doing things, going to be in the NBA. He's helping him pack, and then basically he asked him to come with him to a signing party. He's like, I love you. I want you to come visit me at OKC. I'm not going to be out, though, but I love you, and I want you to come visit me at OKC. And so he was just like, I need your support. And then I was like, but how you saying you need somebody's support, but you want somebody to basically come as your plus one, but still be a secret because you're not living your truth? I don't feel like that's any way to live. And I also don't think it's fair to Drew to put him in a situation like that. This is why sometimes, like, I just don't be rooting for Everett and Drew. So I was very happy to see that after Drew got jumped. I'm not happy that Drew got jumped, but after he got jumped, of course, he missed the party. And we see that Everett's upset. He can clearly see that his face is like beaten. He got his behind whooped, but he doesn't care. Okay, so I hope they are done. And you know what, Drew? If someone saw that you got your ass beat, they didn't ask if you was okay or nothing. They probably didn't love you anyway. Like, it's just nothing about Everett that gives me fight for him. Okay, no, let it go. Let him go off. Live his little basketball dreams and leave you out of it. Also, too, Kane was very disrespectful for how it looked like he almost wanted to laugh at the fact that Drew got jumped. He's just such a disrespectful sibling, but I'm always here for Kane's pettiness. Then we see that Drew ends up pushing Nick into Nick, the personal trainer guy, who they were supposed to be trying to work out a deal to kind of take over his part of him moving weight with all of the traders, and he pushes him in front of the car. Now, at first I thought he did this on purpose, but I guess maybe he felt like this was his way to like get Nick out of the picture so they can keep the business going. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below about that, because I watched this episode twice, so I kind of felt a different way the first time, and the second time I felt like he was just doing what needed to be done. What I guess they were going to have Kane do. I'm not sure if they're going to try the nice way of approaching this, or they were just going to do Kane's way of possibly approaching this. So let me know in the comment section below, because I know y'all always going to tell me, Sharonda, you missed this, and this is what it really meant, and you didn't understand. I'm projecting. Let me just go on with this recap, okay? But can we talk about, actually, we can talk about Monet. So Monet, Davis tells her that they have no new leads on Zeke's murder case. I really do hope they find Zeke's murder, because the way that Monet has been dragging people for filth these first 2 episodes of the season, I don't think anybody can take much more of this, okay? We see that Evelyn comes to visit Monet. She drops off some food and kind of gives her some money and pays her condolences about Zeke. But she also tells her that Detective Whitman, bitch ass, is basically asking questions. She's asking stuff about Frank. And so she just let her know, like, hey, this man up here asking people questions, all right? So then Whitman ends up pulling out over Monet. And then he, like, questioning her, like, I saw you on the traffic cam, that you were by Carrie's house, and I'm gonna prove that it was you that killed her. And guess what? I found out about the detective that you were smashing as well. And then he has the audacity to break her mirror. I was like, if I was one, I would have got out of that car and fought his ass. Like, I wish you would. You know how much it's gonna cost to get this fixed. She's a clean pin. It doesn't matter. She has the money to do it, but can't buy Diana some books for school. But I don't know what's gonna happen with Monet. I don't know if because now that she thinks she's killed Zeke's murderer, that she's going to be better. I don't think that is going to give her the healing that she thinks that is going to give her. But the way that Monet just be sitting there watching TV, looking like, why are you talking to me? Like, I know Mary J. Blige be sitting here like this on a normal day. Like, I know you're not finna come say nothing to me. I know you're not about to annoy me like that. Say something and see what happens. I just feel like sometimes, like, Mary just really be Mary, and it's not just her acting as Monet. That's just me, that's what I'm saying, but I still love her. But let's talk about Brayden. And I'm going to end on Kane, since Kane has arrived. He has blackmailed. He has found his space at the top of the Tejada family. But we're going to talk about Brayden. So Brayden's at work for his daddy. And then this little boy, one of the interns, he did not call Kiki Amorosa. I was done. I paused. I said, you call her what? I was like, huh? But Key's Key, she just let it roll off. She kept it moving. But Brayden ends up putting something on his computer, ordering some stuff to make it seem like he was one of the Proud Boys, which ended up getting him fired. And because Kiki realized that Brayden did that for her, and now she's smashing him, I don't understand how that led to that. Is it believable to me that somebody like Kiki will really be smashing Brayden, her boss's nephew, her boss's like son? I just don't feel like that's something that somebody like Kiki would do. It makes me feel like she would ignore all of his advances and never feel like he's on her standard because he's only here because of who his daddy is and not what he can actually provide and offer to the company. It just doesn't seem realistic for me, but hey, if she like it, I love it. I just don't believe it. That's just me. It's just a little weird at this point. But yeah, so he wants to tell Tariq about Lauren. Effie's like, hell to no. You can take this to your grave. I don't care what guilty conscience you have, but you're going to have to figure that out. But we see that there's this funny interaction because after Tariq loses his internship to Brashandria because we do realize that Brayden actually paid Rashad off he paid him to do this. And the only reason that Rashad let him do this is to have the Weston family name on the list of one of his donors in order to help him win his election. And we know that Rashad is going to F over anyone that gets in his way from getting what he actually wants. But I don't know. I feel like we kind of leading up. Like, I feel like once we get to a season 4 or 5, like, it's going to have to be a Tariq versus Brayden, because I feel like some of these moves that Brayden is making is kind of unforgivable. And I like that this kind of ties into kind of what they were talking about in class, like need versus greed, where we see that Effie checks Tariq because Effie's like, I'm doing this because I have to pay for my college education, right? Like, I'm not doing this because I stand to inherit millions on millions of dollars if I stay out of trouble or do this and that. Like, we don't have the same type of circumstances that we were born into. And so Brayden is definitely for greed because he just likes doing it. He likes having something that doesn't connect him to receiving his wealth from his family name, that he wants to have something that he's made on his own, but it's greedy because it's something that he does not have to do. It's just a rush to him. And so I like how we're kind of seeing this with these different dynamics. And I feel like this is ultimately going to have to lead to a battle between Tariq and Brayden, especially once they find out that what Brayden did for Lauren, and also too getting him kicked off his internship, because he's kind of playing with Tariq's future, because so much of him not getting in trouble, like that is the only way he can get his father's money. So I find all of this just interesting because I feel like it's gonna have to come down to Brayden versus Tariq. But we see that Brayden basically comes up with the idea to give him an internship at his father's company. I was just like, ain't no chance in hell that your daddy can go for this. And then, of course, baby, when he said Brayden Jefferson Weston, I said, nah, he did. Like, when they call you by your middle name, too, that's how you know you in trouble, okay? But the whole back and forth of him saying, like, we should hire him for diversity and inclusion. And then Trace was like, what is this going to be? What next? Are we going to make Juneteenth a holiday? I was like, Trace really irks my soul. Did I chuckle? I did. Because especially when he said maybe we'll have the vineyard to ourselves then, I was like, I'm going to hell for laughing. But I feel like that's something somebody like Trace would actually say. So kudos to the writers for that line. But we see that Brayden is trying to get Tariq and Effie and Kane to buy into letting them move weight at the company. And so, of course, Tariq is very not okay with this. Brayden just confessed on the stand that he was a drug dealer. It's like all eyes on him. Feels like it would bring too much attention and be a way to get them in trouble even quicker. He's not for this. But after he shows how much weight that Brayden is moving in the country clubs, how much cocaine that they actually do in order to keep trading, like Tariq eventually ends up buying into this ideal, especially after hearing the business with personal trainer Nick, who was very disrespectful to Tariq, basically saying it looks like you could do a little something. Now, I'm not saying that I was like, you know, I ain't like, I'm kind of agreeing with him, but I'm just saying, but that's just me, okay? I'm trying to get my fitness journey together too, so who am I to say something, all right? But we see that Nick is actually moving weight as well through protein boxes. He is a trainer. but he moves weight, giving protein, delivering it to people's desks. No one pays attention to it because he's a white man, he's a personal trainer. People probably think it actually is protein. And so I think that at this point, Brayden convinces Tariq ultimately, but towards the end of the episode, to actually buy into this idea. But speaking of Tariq, at the beginning of the episode, Tariq really wasn't with this idea of expansion. You know, they kind of have their plan. Tariq and Effie are going to head up the Ivy League. They're icing out Stansfield for right now because the block is too hot. Kane's going to move the weight with his business, and Brayden going to handle all the white people. And, like, that's a happy medium for them. But I'm interested to see what's going to happen between Tariq and Effie, with her trying to establish her own version of course correct. We see that she's not pulling the trigger on it, maybe because she knows if Tariq finds out, it could be over for them. But also, too, she has her own reasons on why she needs to move away, why she needs to make money as well. So I'm very interested to see how the dynamic is going to play out once Tariq actually finds out the truth about Lauren. But we see that, random side note that just came to my head. This has nothing to do with the recap, but whoever's in charge of the costume design for Power Book 2 Ghosts, why were they flooding? Why was Brayden flooding in his suit? Why was Tariq flooding in his suit? I know them suits cost a lot of money. There's no reason these boys should be flooding the way that they were flooding. Actually, a lot of people were flooding in the office, and I don't know how much cocaine they doing, but they should be able to see that they flooding like this. So it just disrupted my spirit. I'm sure I'm the only person who caught this, but please fix it because I can't take another episode like this. But also, too, shout out for Tariq for getting his hands manicured. I saw that manicure. It looked really nice. Man, it's okay for you to get your nails manicured. It's okay to get a mani and a pedi, baby. Ain't nobody judging you. It don't make you no less of a man. It actually makes you a better man, okay? So I just want y'all to take a book out of Tariq's, book and just go ahead and get that pedicure and that manicure. You're going to enjoy yourself. You need self-care too, black man, regular man, whatever color man you are. Just get your nails and your feet done. You'll thank me later, all right? But yeah, so I'm going to end this off with Kane because it's a lot happening. So Kane is trying to get Lorenzo to move the weight for Noma so don't none of them get killed. But Lorenzo's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing nothing that got anything to do with Mecca because I'm in my feelings because Monet was cheating on me with Mecca, whatever. And because she had the whole secret baby. But he tells them that, they're going back and forth because he's like, why don't you see me as like a rightful person to start taking on more responsibility? And he was just like, I still haven't forgotten about how you were literally going to betray the whole family for Mecca and you started working for Mecca. So like, sorry if it's hard for me to try to see you as somebody who could take a position of leadership in this family business. He tried to snitch on Everett, but Lorenzo doesn't care because he still doesn't trust them. Lorenzo actually tasked him with finding Zeke's killer. That's when he ends up torturing like the pilot and one of Mecca's men, and then they tell him about this bald-headed guy that he saw in black and how he had a busted tail light when he got away. Now, do I feel like Kane should have burned their face and fingers? I don't. I feel like it's a little bit overkill, Kane, but it's Kane. I don't expect anything less. And he did get the information that he needed so much that once he saw that when they were interrogating, because Kane went and grabbed the dude who jumped Drew. And when he said that he was paid to do it, Lorenzo tried to interrupt when Monet was like, by who? And then, basically that's when he handed him the championship ring, the Zeke had. And before they could answer or ask any more questions, Monet unloaded like 100 rounds into his chest. But as soon as they said that, I was like, Lorenzo, you're just so obvious, it's ridiculous. And so when she has him get rid of the body, Kane basically confronts Lorenzo like, bruh, I know that you killed Zeke. Okay, Lorenzo's such a terrible liar. Like, he was just like, nah, man, what are you talking about? I was just like, I don't know if it's the acting or I just don't know if Lorenzo is just a terrible liar. But honey, it was giving murder me now because I'm giving it all away that I was his killer. So Kane puts two and two together. And basically, I thought that Lorenzo was about to kill Kane. Because at this point, like, I know that's his son, but I was just like, I mean, he beefing with him anyway. I just thought he was going to kill Kane or that he was going to get into a shootout or something. But he ends up basically saying, I own you. Like, wait. When Lorenzo told him what really happened and he really wanted to try to kill him, he thought it was Mecca. He thought Monet was trying to run away with him. And then Kane hugged him and was like, that's the dumbest story I've ever heard. I was like, sir, he's telling you the truth. Why you gotta like kick this man while he already down? So basically he was like, I own you. You finna move this way. You gonna do what I tell you to do. I know, I'm not gonna say that. I'm going to hell for saying that. But I know Kane got excited. The fact that he can actually be in a position of power. Clearly he gonna be blackmailing Lorenzo. I don't know how the hell long this is gonna last. And I don't know if once Monet gets out of her grieving process, she's gonna have to realize that, like, this don't add up. This was a little bit too easy. And why the police couldn't figure this out about Zeke Killer, I feel like it has to be once Monet kind of gets out of the initial step of grieving, that she's going to put two and two together and figure out that it was Lorenzo, just like Kane did. But I don't know. I'm excited to see where this is going. I do feel like we need to see more of Noma, because the fact that she keeps sending her like Jeffrey 2.0 wannabe there to watch them, I really feel like we need to actually see more of Noma, because I was just excited to see her. I feel like they made such an interest in the first episode that we just need to see more of her now. But overall, I like where this is going. We're setting up a lot of things over the course of multiple seasons, especially the Brayden versus Tariq, because it has to happen. What's going to happen when they realize that Lauren's alive? What's going to happen when they find out, when Tariq finds out that Effie and Brayden had something to do with Lauren almost not being alive? What's going to happen when Monet finds out what really happened to Zeke? And let's hope that Everett stays out of the picture and goes to OKC and we never see him again. And we're going to have a new person that Drew truly finds a good person that deserves him, okay? Because I just don't like them together. And somebody out there write a good storyline for Diana, because where we going with this whole TA stuff, it ain't cute, okay? But yeah, overall, I still enjoyed the episode. Those just, some quick, long thoughts about how I felt about Power Book 2 Ghost. Season 3, Episode 2, Need versus Greed. Let me know in the comment section below, what did you think about this week's episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What? Give me some of your theories, okay? I want to hear some theories in the comment section. Where do you think this season is going? But that's all that I have for you. As always, my name is Sharonda from PayorWait. And if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again, bye.